because one of the things that I'm really passionate about is helping businesses starting, surviving, and thriving. And that's what we do here at the SME Centre of Excellence. We've helped 12,500 businesses start. So we've developed accelerator programs. These are programs that help you take your idea, convert it into a business plan, and help you execute that. And what's really, really interesting is because we're currently doing some work across the Northeast where we have some support available. But one of the things that people don't realize is they've got an idea or they've got a passion. And the passion economy came to the fore during COVID because all of a sudden, people were at home. They were like, either cooking. They were like, I love cooking. I'm going to set this up. And, having something that you're passionate about is amazing. That should be at the heart and the core of your business because taking an idea and testing it is the most important thing. Don't just have an idea in a bubble. And the three things that you need to consider about your idea is if you set that up as a business, is it desirable? Is someone going to buy your product or service? Is it viable? Can you deliver it? Can you create it? Can you make it? Can you sell it? And is it viable? Are you able to make money from it? And the final point around it, especially given everything that's affecting us in the world and all of the constant shocks from inflation, from cost of living, from various different crises to interest rates and everything else, is your business model adaptable? Can it change? Can you, take the impact of costs going up or customers not coming in or moving to digital? So they're the like four things you need to consider. But if you've got an idea, best thing to do is write it down, talk to different people about it, and then validate it. Start creating something small, testing it. We call it a minimum viable product. Running a business is so hard, but it's incredibly exciting and can bring huge return and value. But the most important thing is get the right advice at the right time. And that's why the SME Centre of Excellence offers that. And there's lots of support available through the SME Centre of Excellence that can help you start, survive, and thrive.
Amazing.
Jalf, what was your number one tip for someone who's got an idea and they want to set that up as a business?
I think you have to, as you said, Ammar, you need to, because things progress very, very fast when you're coming up with, let's say, a concept. So you need to put the feelers out amongst your trusted people to make sure that that concept has legs in the real world. You need to get some constructive criticism right at the very early stage, some sensible feedback. Who's going to tell you, oh, well, that's a rubbish idea? Because your mind, once you kind of lock it down in your head and you think, oh, this is brilliant, and you've got some kind of a verification on it, whether it be from your close friends, colleagues, and then you move to the next step. Then you move to the next step. But that if your first step is wrong, then you are really in trouble because you've actually made a mistake and you've verified something which doesn't have legs, or it's not gonna work in the real world, but in your mind you verified it. Then that starts to propel, and it starts to propel, and then you put it out to tender and stuff. And though someone's not going to tell you, oh, this is rubbish at a later stage, let's say you give it to a graphic design agency, they're not going to tell you, well, hold on, this is actually a rubbish idea, because they want your business and they'll try and make that work. I mean, I can give you so many examples where I had this really silly idea of creating a dual concept restaurant based on an Italian and Indian. And you've got Mr. Mia. You got Mr. Mia, that sells, the lot of Bengali people are called Mr. Mia.
Zips.
M-I-A-H.
That was Mr. Ramen. That was Mr. Ramen.
Mr. Ramen. Yeah, Ramen. But then you have a Mr. Mia as well. And I thought, oh yeah, well, you can have this concept, and you got Mama, which is going to be the Italian kind of big
That's
Mama
cool.
lady
Yeah,
making
yeah,
pizzas, and then you got Mr. Mia with like a mustache. I'm Mr. Mia, and I create this idea where you had Mama, big lady, and then you reversed her, and then the other side you had Mr. Mia,
yeah.
and we thought, oh yeah, they were going to create this restaurant called Mama Mia, and
I love
it
that.
was
Yeah, but that's a
it
great
was
idea. Why
well,
didn't that? Why? Because
I've actually
actually you could. Yeah, that's a great
well
concept.
I'm just telling you that yes, and I got dead excited, and we got to the brand designers and the graphics created this image of a Mama and a Mia, and you flip it around. One side is Mama, the other side is Mia. Then you think of it in the real world, and would you have I mean, you have as a takeaway, you have Double Diner, the
Mm,
famous Indian
yeah,
takeaway in Fenham, and they're
yeah,
fantastic. They've done so well over so many years because you
mm,
can't have pizzas and you can have an Indian at the same time delivered to your door. But we just felt that in a real restaurant situation that you need to have really a
yeah,
focused concept of what your
yeah,
cuisine is, as opposed to have a bit of Indian and a bit of Italian. And for that reason, we moved away from it. Now, it wasn't until actually a mentor of mine,
yeah,
George, he said to me, that's just a really ridiculous idea. Why would you even think of that? And it needed
yeah,
someone like that to tell you as it is. So I think
yeah,
don't, my point I'm trying to make is in the initial stages of concept development or conceptualization, have some real people around you who's going to really give you that good advice. And you should really, if you can, if those people around you are some kind of expert in the field, like I've
yeah,
often come to you and asked advice because I know that you're going to tell it to me as it is, and that advice is so valuable because it could be actually whether your business succeeds or fails, or whether you spend a whole load of money on doing something completely wrong that doesn't have legs in the real world. So I would say that that's what you should do. I mean, when we were looking at, for example, Kai Kai as a name, I spoke to
yeah,
our brand designers in London, and one of the ladies, Anna, she is like unbelievable conceptualize things. That's her strength. She is a
yeah,
brand conceptualizer. And we
yeah.
asked her, can you see a brand in this before we even begin to consider it as a name? And she said, absolutely. And that gave us the confidence that a brand expert is telling us that she can see a brand in this particular name. So then you then start to get the ball rolling, and then it builds legs, and then you kind of work on it, and you think, oh yes, actually this is something interesting can happen because experts have said that they can see something. So I guess that would be my advice. And before you spend the big
Yeah.
money, get verification from some experts if possible. Give you a ring, I would say.
Well, and it's not me necessarily. Obviously, I'm part of the team, but we've got so many experts, right, from each stage and phase of the business life cycle. So that's really, as you say, Jeff, getting the right advice at the right time is critical. And especially if you're at the early stage, because yeah, I mean, great examples. I mean, gosh, I've got like so many things that I've come up with and gone, hey, it's the best thing ever. And invested time, effort,
Like
energy.
the
You had
Nanwich
you
man,
had what?
the Nanwich was going to take over the
Well,
world.
well, the whole Nanwich was like the biggest thing ever, but it wasn't just Nanwich, was it? I had Jodisha, I'd actually I'd IP'd that, and everything else. It was like the logos. I got a van. I would like done some food on the quayside for the Olympics. It was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be. And actually, what do I know about food?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a better cook than you. But anyway,
Oh, yeah,
running a
absolutely.
restaurant, running a
I've never,
restaurant, and
I've never
running the
cooked.
most successful, restaurants is your business. I could never ever profess to be that. But what I can do is take anybody through a process of evaluation and a business testing cycle. So it doesn't matter what sector, what idea you've got, the key core principles to starting and scaling a business remain the same, right?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks their problem's unique to them. Everyone thinks it's the first thing. Oh my gosh, I've come up with this and it's no one's ever done it. I'm not going to tell anybody about it. I'm going to throw lots of money in. But don't forget, service providers, right? Professional service providers, they're going to charge you regardless. They're not interested in your bottom line, whether your business succeeds. You know, the vast majority, you're going to say, can you build me a website? Of course I can. It's going to cost you a couple of £1,000. Can you do some marketing? Of course I can. I can, you know, it's going to cost. They're not, you know, they're obviously, if they're nice and if they're good businesses, they might go, all right, well, here's using our expertise. What they won't do is say, have you validated your business model? Is someone going to buy your product or service? And that is the starting point. It also, it's really important to get the basics right, right? Because hopefully when your business takes off and you might say, all right, well, I'm going to do it 9 till 5, or I'm going to open 6 till 11. What about the rest of the time? People don't realize the commitment that's required. But if you do and get the foundations right at the beginning, you know, I mean, gosh, Jeff, how many times did you try something, you know, tested it, some of it's worked out, some of it didn't, you know, it took like the average time to a successful business is about 10 years. The average time to actually, and I'm talking about a really successful, you know, there's a whole range of businesses that I've been involved in and I see that have gone, you know, because they got the foundations right, they're making lots of money, year 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. But the maturity level, the success, the most, you know, whether it's Amazon's, whether it's Facebook's, whether it's the Google's, all of these stellar businesses took 10 years to get to a point where they would go, right, now we're doing something.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing is, unfortunately, in the current climate, we don't have 10 years. We've got 10 minutes to make it work.